Welcome to the first webcast from the team at Motoring Middle East in association with Talkabout Media. Here's our roundup of the latest from the world of motoring.
And we start with good news for those of you who have rather a lot of money and a very nice car indeed. The infamous Gumball 3000 rally is coming to the UAE this November as part of its luxury tour.
No, just luxury tour. That's not the whole Gumball then. This is just an individual thing that they're doing.
This is an event they're doing traveling across the world and doing it's not a rally like the actual Gumball. So what they'll do is they will start from the level 153 at the Burj Khalifa, which is the highest event space in the world. From there, they'll travel across the country fairly quickly, I presume, taking in some spectacular desert and coastal scenery and staying in some exotic locations, including the Atlantis on Palm Jumeirah, before finally ending up, surprise, surprise, at the finish line of the Yas Marina circuit in time for the start of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Anyway, there's good news for all hot hatch fans. The Ford Focus ST is coming to the Middle East, and I've already driven it, yes, and I've driven it right here in the UAE. I was fortunate enough to tag along with the Ford engineers during their in-market evaluation of the ST and also the new Ford Fusion. The Focus ST goes on sale here early next year, with the Fusion arriving later in 2013. What you all want to know is, what is the Focus ST like to drive? Well, I can't tell you. It was a pre-production test mule, so I'm not allowed to give you my verdict. However, I will do this. Anyway, this wasn't the only car we got our hands on ahead of time, was it?
No, we actually scored a regional exclusive this summer when we drove the Dodge Dart small saloon. I say drove, but what he actually did was help Dodge with their hot weather testing for this car, driving it across all 7 Emirates in the course of a single day, as I recall.
Actually, I think we only managed 6, but who's counting?
Don't tell anybody. Unlike Shahzad, I can give you some impressions that are more than a finger. The Dart is pretty spacious, has a good ride, comes packed with loads of cool electronics, including a massive central screen that you've never seen in a car this small and at this price. In terms of handling, it's an Alfa Romeo underneath, so it handles corners like a pro. And as for the looks, I think it is utterly brilliant.
I tell you what I really like the looks of recently is that new Jaguar F-Type. This is shaping up to be a really gorgeous little roadster. It was revealed at the recent Paris Motor Show, and it's out next year. And it's a sort of sportier, racier cousin to the larger XK Grand Tourer.
What sort of engines are going to have?
There will be a couple of V6s, but I know what you're interested in, and that's the 500 brake horsepower V8. That'll give you a 0 to 100 time of 4.3 seconds and a top speed of 300 kilometers per hour. And I can't wait to try it. But that wasn't a real surprise from Paris, was it?
No, shock and horror. That would have to be a Porsche, the Sport Turismo, which is the Panamera hatchback basically. I mean, nobody's ever complained about how the Panamera drives. It's pretty fast and it handles beautifully. But for the styling, let's just say it's not Porsche's finest hour, is it? That back end looks like something the Elephant Man would find attractive. But add a station wagon instead, and you've got the sexiest Porsche I think in years. Next year it'll come out with a million different versions.
It seems to me like it's a sort of rival for the new Mercedes CLS shooting brake. I was one of the only UAE journalists to head over to Italy to drive it at the international launch. This car is a fraction longer than the saloon. It has air suspension and 1,500 litres of space in the back.
Because that's what you wanted in a CLS, was a gigantic boot.
Well, what you want in the back is this beautiful American cherry wood floor paneling. It's absolutely fantastic. But there's one problem with that. It's so nice, I don't actually want to put anything on top of it.
I suppose everyone in the UAE will probably put those little plastic sheets on the back of it. That's what's going to happen.
I suspect that's exactly what's going to be the case with that car. You've also driven something new this week, haven't you?
I've actually literally just finished, as in yesterday, the drive for the new Trailblazer, which you probably know is an old nameplate that Chevrolet has just brought back to life. The old car was quite well known here, built in the States, it was a crossover, but this one was put together in Thailand and the styling was done by the Brazilians and the engine comes from Korea. So quite an international cookbook here. It looks a bit generic, but it's actually a pickup truck underneath, so it's capable of doing some serious off-roading if you need it to. Most people probably aren't going to bother. But luckily, it's well equipped, it's spacious, has a really nice smooth V6, which Chevy claims has the best fuel economy in its class. I don't know if that's really important in the Middle East, but they think it is. And prices start from 114,000, which is about 10,000 cheaper than the nearest rival, which is the Toyota Fortuner. And it's available right now.
It should be interesting to see how that does. I mean, it's a big market for SUVs, so I think it should sell quite well. I'll tell you what I'm really excited about though. The new Bond movie is out this month, Skyfall. And on motoringmb.com, our website, we've been looking back at the best Bond cars from the last 50 years of movies. One of the cars that wasn't on that list, though, is the 1974 AMC Hornet, which Roger Moore drives in The Man with the Golden Gun. Do you remember that jump across the river where the car twists 360 degrees in the air? That was done on the first attempt for real with no camera takes. It's absolutely amazing.
First time they ever plotted that by computer, as I recall as well.
Yes, that's right. I mean, they actually got it all worked out mathematically to make sure that Roger Moore would be in one piece when he got to the other side.
I don't think he was driving it personally.
No, don't say that. But tell me, what's your favorite Bond car moment?
Well, there's just so many to choose from. I mean, Goldfinger, everybody, it's pretty obvious. The Aston Martin DB5. There's the Submarine Esprit, which I know you will probably say is your number one, alternatively. But since I am not as old as you, I will go with something closer to this century. The 7 Series BMW that Pierce Brosnan drove through the parking garage in Tomorrow Never Dies. Not the best Bond movie, but think of this, what he was doing. He was being chased by bad guys down a parking garage, and they are toting machine guns and rocket launchers, and he's driving the car with his mobile phone in the back of his seat.
Do you know where that was actually filmed? That was filmed at the Brent Cross Shopping Centre in London near my house. And I remember going shopping there and going into the car park and seeing signs everywhere saying, "Do not be alarmed, there could be explosions." So that's not very healthy.
It wasn't shot in Germany then.
No. Anyway, you can read all about these stories on Motoring.me, and you can also follow us and get all the latest news from the world of motoring on our Facebook page, which is
facebook.com/motoringmiddleeast.
Go there now to let us have your feedback on this video and anything else we do at Motoring Middle East.